Hello, my name is Maria and this is my channel Planners in Practice. Welcome! If you're juggling a lot and barely have time to even plan but still want to move your life forward, I have something to tell you. It's the simplest planning tool I've used, and I've tried more for the last about 15 years, and in only about a week you can actually feel the difference. It also takes less than 10 minutes to set up. Sounds nice, huh? If that sounds interesting, here we go. So this tool is not a fancy spread or some theory exercise. It's actually a decision tool to help you focus your time, energy, and focus where it needs to go based on your specific life situation right now. The tool is called the Wheel of Life, and you might have heard of it before. It's a wheel that includes all the key sections of your life: health, relationships, and purpose, and you're scoring them so that it helps you see where the gaps are and what is the area that needs most attention. In my view, there are three key categories that we need to take care of in order to live a happy and well-rounded life. Those are, first and foremost, health. Without that, nothing else really matters, right? We need to make sure we cover the basics first. And those would be proper sleep, healthy food, enough water, movement or exercise, tracking our stress levels, and also our rest. As basic as this sounds, sometimes we are forced to fall out of it and not really pay attention to it, or there are just seasons of life where you don't have the luxury to actually have a proper sleep or to have the healthy food, but once you're tracking it, once you have that visual representation where you see what is lacking, then you can be more deliberate about your choices. The second big category is relationships, and this one is key. As you might have heard, there is a very famous Harvard study that followed a bunch of people throughout their whole life and measured what are the key contributors to happiness. And it wasn't money, it wasn't physical possessions, it was the quality of their relationships. So here in this category, I want you to think about the key people or groups of people that actually affect your life and that really matter to you. In my specific case, first one will be a romantic relationship, then I would have a section for parenting or relationships with my kids. Next one would be family, and then friends. Of course, you can adjust these based on your situation and preferences, and that applies to all categories. Over time, I've also changed a few. The last one is purpose, and here I would include things like work and career, passion, creativity, and contribution. In Japan, there's this term called ikigai that basically describes this. It's your reason for getting out of bed, it's your contribution to the world, and what gives you meaning and drives you forward. Learning and growth, and then exploration and joy. Those are my key subsections of those three big categories, but you can adjust as you wish so that it fits your lifestyle or the way that you want to live. The way that it works is now we have to go around each of those categories and rate it from 1 to 10. 1 being it's miserable, it's can't be any worse. 10 being it's amazing, incredible, it's exactly as I want it to be, nothing to be improved here. Have a couple of minutes, don't overthink this too much, but give each section a score and be honest with it. Sometimes if you're second guessing, just go with your gut feeling, don't overthink it. You can now pause the video to score all the sections. Once we've done that, let's now connect the dots. Draw that, hopefully, circle or shape that they form. Now the point is to inspect the shape that we have on our piece of paper. Let's look at the different categories, see if there's one that is particularly lacking or that has considerably lower numbers than the others. Pick one subcategory. Now the point is to pick one that has probably the lowest score, or the one that speaks to you the most, the one that you think will make the most difference, positive difference in your life if it were higher than it is. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a week-long experiment and figure out something that we can do over the next week, so the next 7 days, including today, what you can do on a daily basis, or maybe a couple of times a week, or 3, depending on what the thing is and what makes sense for your situation. In a week, we'll revisit and we'll score ourselves again to see if and how that particular category has moved and scored. For example, if you picked sleep, and that's an area that definitely needs improvement right now, you could set a bedtime alarm for, let's say, 4 times a week. The point here is not to fix our whole life in a week, it's just to pick one area that will make some improvement, a tiny little step that we can take that will not be too overwhelming. Over time, we can keep doing this week after week, and tiny little increments and steps compound over the long term. Also, over time, you can use different colored pens so that you can see how it moves throughout time. Doing this exercise once a week, first week doing it with yellow, second one with orange, then red, and then using a sequence of colors that will let you differentiate which week was what. This is a very simple tool that requires minimum time input and can really help you pinpoint what you can do in the next 7 days to make your life better. And if you do that over a period of time, you will see results bigger and bigger. There's this saying, we overestimate how much we can do in a day and underestimate how much we can do in a year. Also, you might have heard about the 1% rule. If every day for a year we make small improvements, a 1% improvement, at the end of the year we'll end up about 37 times better than we started. So the whole point here is to find something that is sustainable and that we can really incorporate in our busy lives and we can actually stick with, because in order to see results, that's what's needed: consistency. And I'm saying this to you as much as I'm saying it to myself, because I've been up and down with planning for a long time, and this YouTube channel is all about documenting my journey and me hopefully getting back to planning. And this is the thing that I'm starting with because it's the simplest and the most impactful one based on my experience so far. If you want to come along with me, feel free to share in the comment what your habit will be for the next 7 days. I would love to hear about your journey, and hopefully you found something useful here. Have a nice day and see you in the next one. Bye!